Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast, Crucial Conversations. I'm Sukaina Takim. I'm a psychologist, a mental health advocate, and your host for this podcast series. And today we will be discussing another important, vast topic, learning differently. And with me today, I have Zahida Bai, who will introduce herself. Lots of experience, lots of knowledge. Zahida Bai.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Um, I'm Zahida Chagani, qualified special educator, and working with special needs children for the past 10 years, and currently working with the learning support team in our madrasa.
Okay, wonderful. Great. Okay, I think this topic is exactly befitting you. So we'll jump right in. So maybe you can kind of tell us what we mean when we say learning differently. Everybody, I think, has styles of learning, and there are some children, adults that sort of don't fit the mainstream kind of learning. And so, what does learning differently entail?
So it's just like the fingers on our palm, yeah? All of them are different. All 5 fingers are different, and they're all unique. Similarly, everyone has a different learning style. If you go into the learning styles, there are 4 major learning styles that we look at: the audio visuals, the audios, the kinesthetic, and the read and write ones. Yeah, but some children, these learning styles affect them differently. Meaning they have difficulties in reading, writing, comprehension skills, or even doing math sometimes. Even sometimes they also feel they also have difficulty in communication. So every child is different. Some of the examples of these learning styles are dyslexia, which is like the reading difficulty, where the child cannot read the written language. We also have ADHD, the attention deficit. These are the most common ones that we find in the mainstream schools. ADHD is something where the child is having difficulty to focus and paying attention. We have dyscalculia, where the child is facing difficulty in doing math calculations. We also have dyspraxia, where we have coordination difficulty, where the child cannot do physical tasks very easily. So these are very common challenges that the children are facing in today's world.
Okay, that's interesting. And do you have maybe the statistic of the world's population that kind of fits this category?
Currently, at the moment, the research shows we have 25% of any population in any part of the world. So that means 1 out of 4 children have learning differences.
Oh, wow. So that's a significant number.
Yes, and it is growing.
Okay. Okay. So that kind of shifts a lot of the way the current education system needs to be looked at, really, so that they have all the tools in the schools and they know how to teach the children, because these children are going to become adults and they take this with them. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. So gone are the days where we had the teacher in front of us and all of us were studying the same what the teacher was teaching on the blackboard. Now it is more child-centered. Everyone needs to, the focus is the child, how the child learns, the types of learning styles the child is adapted to. So everything is focused on the child.
Okay. So it's a complete shift from maybe when we were in school.
Exactly.
When we had lots of note-taking and the blackboards, and now it's all personalized, kind of child-centered. Okay, and is this something that you do on a daily basis with your work?
So in my center, yes, we have personalized IEP, individual education plans, where the child has his own education plan, where we follow that. And within a classroom setup, even if you have 10 students, but each child has their own personal education plan. So that is the teacher is focusing on the child's goals.
Okay. To implement these kind of adaptations into mainstream schools, what would be that kind of requirement?
The first thing we need to know is we need to identify these children first. We need to diagnose them first. We need to find out what exactly is the child's challenge. Then we need to have the teachers trained accordingly. We cannot have the normal teachers doing the same adaptations in class. Yes, uh, those teachers who are trained are, when they go for training, teachers training these days also include these trainings. But we do have specific trainings for such as dyslexia training. We do have specific trainings for these things. So once you have identified a child, you need to go for training so that you are able to help the child out.
Okay. Yeah, so I think it goes back to kind of two steps back.
Exactly.
Teacher training, awareness, and all of that, and then getting the child some kind of testing done to see where they fall, and then working accordingly. Okay. Okay. Parents obviously would play a significant role in the child's learning, and I know a lot of it goes back to the awareness that we have today. But 20, 30 years ago, when the research wasn't there, when a lot of the parents were like, my child is very naughty. They just don't want to understand. They're constantly fidgeting. They can't sit still. Was this all of this part of the learning difficulties, maybe the ADHD, that was just never diagnosed? And sometimes, or have you seen any challenges with parents not understanding it fully in terms of this is a learning, it's not even a difficulty or disability, but they just learn differently. They just absorb the knowledge in a different way.
The biggest challenge we have at the moment is acceptance. Even if the parent knows, is aware that these things are there, but there's no acceptance that no, my child is going through something. That is still a stigma in our community, especially. So if you tell a parent that there might be something wrong with the child, they will really look at you in a different way. But once you get into counseling with the parents, you have a session with the parents, you show them different techniques to work with the child, then they slowly understand and progress happens. But the main important aspect here is the parent plays a very important role, because they become the advocate for the child. Because if my child, and I'm not talking about my child, then who is going to talk about my child? So, and you need to very openly communicate to the teachers that my child is going through something and I need your help. There shouldn't be any kind of shame in asking for help. You need to ask for assistance, and assistance is there. Therapies are there, and we are ready to help. It's just the support is there. You need to find it out. You need to figure it out. You need to find out. You need to talk about it. That's when you will find out where it is.
That is absolutely right. I think the awareness, and then with the awareness comes the acceptance. And we have all the tools. We have the internet. There's so many resources available. There's so many free resources. There are lots of webinars. There's lots and lots of stuff. I know I have looked into this myself, but I think it goes back down to just understanding your child. And as you said, there is nothing wrong with the child. It's just learning differently. And I think that's why we picked this topic. It's not a disability, it's not a difficulty, it's not a negative, it's just something different.
Even if it is a disability, I would say if you take it positively as a parent, then there's nothing negative about it. Exactly. Even if my child has autism or my child has cerebral palsy, it is fine. God has given me this, I need to take care of this child. So if you take it positively, then the child is going to flourish positively. But if you take it negatively, then you'll have to have the consequences there.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I think that hits the nail on the head. Whatever you have been given in terms of this is your responsibility. Allow the child to thrive. I'll provide those the environment for the child to thrive. Definitely, definitely. Zahida Bhai, I guess this is something that we've all seen in terms of lower levels of attention or lowering levels of attention, concentration, focus in our children today. And I don't think it's only our children. I think the adults also suffer from this, right? We're constantly bombarded with pings and notifications, and social media is so active. The games that children play or adults play, where does this come in when we have a different learner, and how do we manage? Because generally, different learners do struggle with their concentration. How does all of this tie in for a different learner?
These days, not only different learners, but everyone struggles with concentration and focus and attention. So the two main factors are screen time and the diet. They play a very important role. You need to have a limited screen time for your child, be it any child. Yeah, we normally say an hour per day is more than enough, maximum 2 hours, but not more than that. Sometimes it's like I'm busy and my child is left with his tab or whatever it is for a long period of time, and we don't realize the effect of those things. And we sometimes don't even know what is going through those channels, especially if it is YouTube's or the scrolling that they do.
The autoplays and
Yes.
the scrolling, yeah.
So that is what is really affecting our children's attention, because there on the screen everything keeps on changing every minute. And here on our school environment, we have the same focus, at least for 10 minutes.
Yes, yeah.
So it is affecting our children, yeah. And the other factor is the diet. Sometimes what is happening these days, we don't have the natural food that we normally used to have in olden days. I don't think even we had the natural
Agreed,
food.
yeah.
Now it's all preservatives that we are having. But so we need to be careful with what we are giving our children, especially when it comes to sugar and refined sugar, plus any processed food. So it's easier to make Maggi noodles, but it's not the right choice.
Yeah.
So try and give healthy stuff to your child, more vegetables, and as much as possible, lots of water for the concentration level.
Oh, really?
Even for ADHD children, we really recommend lots of water for them to calm down, to sit. Yeah. So it helps. It helps the child calm down, and water has a calming effect. Yeah. So we do recommend children to have lots of water.
Okay, so opposed to juice or like
Juice
sugar,
and no
milk
sodas
with
at all, please. No
the milk
fizzy
these
drinks
days
at
is
all.
all sweetened. Fizzy drinks are completely
Yes.
no go. Yeah. Okay, so that's interesting. I didn't know that about how water helps, especially children with ADHD, and I can understand the calming effect it would have, and okay, yes, I think diet plays a role in every aspect of our lives. It's what we are intaking, and that's what we're going to eventually. It's going to affect us. And if there is natural ways for us to help our children, of course, why not? Keep the food simple, keep the food fresh. We have sugar and preservatives in everything these days. It is difficult. We understand it's hard. Especially
for working women.
And I think it's everywhere. Everywhere you go, there's chocolates. Everywhere you go, there's fizzy drinks. So it's
Junk
difficult
food,
to
yeah.
keep
Fast
the children,
food.
the children away from it. But as much as you can, I think would be good. Yeah. Okay.
But especially if you have a learning different child, you need to be careful with what you're giving your child. So because that plays an important role. So we need to be careful.
Yeah. So I think it's multiple factors that play into the success of the child. Yeah.
It's a very important thing to understand is there's a Swahili African quote which says it takes a village to raise a child. So see, sometimes we feel it's difficult for us, but then we are not ready to take help. Yes, I understand you don't have support sometimes, but try and find that support. Involve the grandparents, involve people around you, so that you also have. It is very overwhelming for parents. It's not easy for parents to have children with difficulties. It's quite overwhelming.
Yes.
And the stress levels are very, very high. It's like a pressure cooker. Yeah, it's like full there. But then try and involve other people around you so that you also get time to relax yourself. It's important to relax yourself so that you are able to help your child out.
That's so true. I think that's one of the things parents kind of forget.
Exactly.
That seek the help, seek the support system. It's not that you're unable to do it. That's why you're seeking the help. It's because you need that little bit of a breather. You need to kind of go refill, reconnect, regroup, and then come back. And it's so beneficial for the child as well to have multiple connections with family members or whoever it is. It could be friends, it could be any kind of support system. And I think that's where we tend to kind of have a bit of a gap. And then it gets so difficult. And then we tend to rely on the screen and we rely on the sugar and, we rely on all the wrong things. And, it makes it even harder. And that kind of circle just keeps going round and round.
We also need to understand that we're not going to be here forever, yeah? So where is the child going to go after me?
Yes.
After me concepts are very important. We discuss this with all our parents. Whatever child you have, yes, you are the right person for that child, I understand. But then what next? What if you fall sick for that day? Who takes care of your child?
That is something that many people don't think about.
These things,
Yeah.
yes. We need to think about these things. So make sure that you have the support system. Don't rely on yourself only. It's not possible. It's not going to be
That's
possible.
true. You're a human being as well.
Exactly.
There will be times when you're not well, or you need
Exactly.
to travel, or whatever it is.
Exactly. So these are things that we need to think about.
And I think having that kind of forward thinking, open-minded thinking that, you know what, yes, it's difficult, yes, it's your child, but there has to be flexibility, there has to be leeways. Okay. It's interesting. It's nice to see it from a different perspective that, you know what, there is a lot of life ahead for that child, and you need to have those support systems in place. Yeah. So for parents who want takeaways from our talk today, what can you provide for them in terms of the route to take, how to overcome the challenges, you know, wherever it is? What are the kind of guidance and the tips and tricks from your 10 years of experience that you can provide our viewers?
I think the first thing they need to do is get the proper diagnosis done. We need to get the proper diagnosis, which then will be able to help the child. Once you have the diagnosis, you need to educate yourself first. Understand what the child is going through. Whatever difficulty it is, understand what the child is going through and what is going to help the child. There are a lot of support groups also. We have parent support groups from all over the world. We have WhatsApp these days, so it's easier. Parents make their own groups and then they share difficulties every day. Yeah? So try and connect yourself to these support groups and try and see the right kind of interventions for your child. Seek the right kind of interventions. What is happening is there's a lot of market out there for special needs right now, okay, because the awareness is there now. But you need to find the right person, the right therapist, and don't rely on them. Follow up. Okay? If you've taken your child to school, yes, 4 hours the child is in school, you need to follow up, ask questions. Don't just rely on them, what is happening. I have visited a center where the child was given medication to sleep 4 hours. In the morning, the child is being brought, they give medication, the child sleeps. The whole time he is awake, the child is taken back home. So you see what is happening. You don't know what is happening with your child. So don't keep quiet. Ask. Follow up. Ask for reports. Ask for understand what is going on with your child. Okay? So these are very important tips that the parents have to do it. I know again it's difficult, working parents, all that is there. But if you have a grandparent who is taking care of your child, let her follow up. Let her follow up. Give you feedback. Okay. So try. That is why I said it is easier when you have your support team with you. It's not. It's difficult when you're alone. Okay. And make sure that whatever is going on with your child is the right thing. And if you feel it is not right, ask. Why is this not happening? Why is this not happening? It's always good to ask than to stay quiet.
True.
Yeah.
So I think with awareness comes acceptance, and with acceptance we need involvement. That is when the child is given all the support systems, setting up again for success. So it's not just a one step. It's
a journey.
It's a journey, exactly. It's a journey. Okay, so we have the tips and tricks, guidance for our parents. But as a wider society, the wider community, what role do we play for our different learners?
I think the biggest thing we need to do is stop judging. Just, it's okay. It doesn't matter. You don't know what is going on, so don't judge.
So true.
Okay? That's the biggest thing. The other thing that we need to do is we need to accept and support each other. If somebody is coming to you for support, you need to help. If you can't help, then guide them to the right person. Okay? But don't misguide people. Don't give them the wrong information. Okay? And it's like let's promote inclusivity wherever we are, be it at mosque, be it at school, be it wherever, even in our social gatherings, it's okay. It's okay to have an ADHD child come to the gatherings. Sometimes we have the no children notions, but this is not what we need right now. We need the child to come so that they also learn how to socialize with other people. How will he otherwise learn? So include them, accept them, and don't judge. It's not the parents' fault.
So true. That is exactly. It's not anybody's fault. It's not the child's, it's not the parents, it's not the wider societies. And as you said, that inclusivity. How are these children going to learn to live in the world if they're not included? We can't constantly have them excluded, and we can't have this judgment and stigma, and they're human beings. There's nothing contagious about ADHD. It's just a different way that they absorb knowledge. I think if we just look at it like that, or if it is the dyslexic children or those who learn audiovisually, it's just how they're absorbing the knowledge, and we have the research today. We have all the tools and strategies to help them. So why not? Why constantly have that judgment sitting in front? Yeah, so true. So with more than 10 years experience, I'm sure there's lots and lots of real life stories, anecdotes, experiences that you've had. Maybe if you could share one or two for our viewers, just to give them kind of real life examples.
So we have different learners, and some children, when we have the comprehensions, we have to read the story and then write the answers. The child is able to read, but then is not able to comprehend what the child is reading. So what we do is, instead of asking them to write the answers, we give them choices. It's okay. As long as you know that the child has understood what he has read. When it comes to math, for example, why would I strain a child to do mental math when I can give him a calculator to use? And everyone today uses a calculator.
So true. You find yourself doing 40 plus 40 on the calculator.
Exactly. So why do I want to stress the child when I know the child is going through dyscalculia, and I'm stressing that child for no reason? Why can't I just give them a calculator? So I have a CP child.
Yeah.
He could not even hold the pencil. Now he writes, but then the handwriting are way out of, okay? So, and he's going to a normal session in madrasa. So the teacher asked me, how do I help this child? I said, don't ask him to write. Give him the answers, let him choose. Let him pick and put the answers. He knows the content.
Yeah.
He knows everything. He listens to what you're saying. It's just that he cannot talk to you, cannot express, but he knows the answers. Yeah. So give him the choices. He will show you that he knows.
He knows it. And I think that's the most important bit.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
That they're retaining the knowledge.
Exactly.
Not having to regurgitate it again and write it.
Exactly.
So
it's just a different way of teaching now. See, it says if the child does not learn the way you teach, then you need to teach the way the child learns. Yeah. So we need to now change our focus from the teacher's perspective to the child-centered learning.
Yeah. I think I love that. I love that child-centered learning. It just changes the whole focus. The teacher is not, it's the child, and they are our future. We want to set them up for success. And I think I keep saying this, but I think that's the message I want to put across is we want to set our children up for success, right? As you said, we're not going to be around for forever. They have to learn to fend for themselves. Yeah, true.
And they are the next generation. We have to prepare them.
That's so true.
And if we start accepting the children, then our children will also start accepting them, right?
That's true. That's true. We have to model the behavior that we want. True. Yeah.
So one more example that I have right now is we have started inclusion in our secondary school. So what we have done is we have started subject inclusions. So for example, a child is good at math, so we will send them for math classes, and then they come back to the center. So if you look at the child right now, they are so responsible, and they've been given tabs. At Al-Mutazil, we have tabs. Yeah. So they've been given tabs, and the child comes to the office, picks the tabs, goes to 4 classes, comes back, puts it back in its box, and puts it back in the office.
Wow.
You see, and this child is a child with autism. You see
Where
the
these
difference.
tasks are difficult for them.
Very difficult. So the child has been trained, has been given therapies, proper therapies, where the child now understands the responsibility. He understands the classroom rules. They go to their classroom, they listen to the sessions, they work with the other children, they socialize with them. Even if it is only PE, they will go for PE. They will go for IT skills only. They do that, yeah. So they go, they spend the session there, and then they come back. And then when they come back, they come and say what happened. If something went wrong, today my tab was not working. So they will come and tell the teacher, today my tab was not working, or something was wrong with my tab, or this is the task that I've been given. You see, that responsibility, that is a very good progress that we look into. And the parents are very proud of these children. Very, very proud of these children. And these are milestones that we have achieved so far. And I can say it's the team effort that goes into it, definitely. But yeah, alhamdulillah, we have been able to achieve these things.
That's amazing. In terms of that kind of progress, levels of responsibility, and you get feedback from the child. You get, it's amazing work that you guys are all putting in. And of course, there's always team effort. And kind of finding the strengths of the child. So a child good at math, they're being included into the math class. There's, of course, the IT skills are something all children need. So there is that kind of inclusivity into the classrooms, and it puts them in that kind of normalized classroom setting, social setting. That exposure comes in as well. So,
and we have been exposing them to everything, be it bank, be it hospitals, be it a movie theater. We have taken children there. We have taken especially children there to a movie theater and sit for 3 hours to watch a movie with them. Yes, we booked the whole hall ourselves, but we did it, with the sound, with the sensory issues that they have, the huge sound that they have, the lightings that are there. But they did it, But it's like, if we don't expose them to these things, when are they going to learn? Like we said before, we need to accept them, we need to expose them. They need to come into our community to be able to learn all these things. So this is what we're doing.
Okay, that's amazing. Wow, movie theater. I know, with the sounds and the light,
Exactly.
But I'm sure they must have loved it.
They love it, especially when it is an animated movie.
Yeah,
so
of course.
Of
course. That's amazing effort and work that you guys are putting in for our children, and I think we just hope that it continues, and there's that kind of spillover effect that we want from this conversation that we're having today, to educate everybody out there. And I think anybody or everybody has witnessed or has somebody that they know or is somehow involved with a child that learns differently. I think the degrees of separation are so small right now. Because, as we said, it's 25% of the world's population. So we are going to be impacted by it somehow or the other. And allowing that inclusivity, allowing us to accept them the way they are, I think it's a no choice right now. We need to. And I know there's some companies, especially in the West, that tend to, have the quota for their different learners. And we have so many, popular people who are coming out now. We're dyslexic, we have ADHD, we're on the spectrum, whatever. It's again, I think it's creating that awareness. It's making it a comfortable topic to speak about. I think it's just normalizing that we are different in our own ways.
Yeah, very true, very true. And we need to, as a community, we need to bring them out. If you know a child, maybe the parents are not yet ready, but you need to counsel those parents and bring that child out. Don't keep them at home. It's not going to help. 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, the child has not been exposed to any kind of environment. You really can't help the child later on. So early interventions are very, very important. 2 years, 2.5 years, you've already identified something is not right with your child. Bring him out, talk about the child, take the right interventions. That is how it's going to help you. Otherwise, it's not going to help.
That I think is so true. Again, that fear of the stigma, the fear of, we understand all of that. But as you said, the earlier the interventions, the more you can do for your child. And If it's learning difficulties, it's picked up in the classroom. If there's any kind of milestones or progress in terms of the growth of the child, that will be picked by the pediatrician or the doctor. And as soon as that kind of information comes through, work on it, act on it. Reach out to whoever you know. I mean, the first place is Google. Just learn, educate yourself, right? If you feel I'm afraid or I can't speak or I don't know anybody, Google it. It can be a bit scary sometimes, but you have to, okay, you know what? We want to figure it out for our child.
To filter the information.
Exactly.
Google gives you, but yeah.
But just do it, and
Yeah.
take those first
At least
steps.
expose yourself.
Exactly. And I think with that exposure comes, that's supposed to stem growth.
Yes,
And as you
true.
said, in terms of the online forums and WhatsApp groups and support networks, I think those are phenomenal because you can connect with people who are exposed to so many different experiences and you learn from them, you bounce off each other. And that's the good things that have come out of technology, right?
It also gives you the feeling that you're not alone. It's not like, why me? All that thing. It's like, okay, there's somebody else also suffering from the same thing. Why can't I get some help from them? They will give you some advice when you can help your child. It's good to help.
Yeah. I think having that network, you don't feel so alone. Yeah. When you feel alone, it's more daunting. It feels harder. When you have a support system for yourself, and whatever that support system is, it just makes it that little bit easier. Yeah. Okay, great. A lot of takeaways, Zahida. I think there are a few things that even I've learned today, and it's amazing to hear the progress and the success that you've been having with your career, with your children, and the steps that you continuously taking to just make them more inclusive, more socially aware, all of those things that you're setting them up for. So maybe parting words, what you can leave our viewers with.
I think the best thing is to just keep raising awareness, provide support each other, and promote inclusivity. And ensure all our children have equal opportunities to reach their full potentials. Because if you don't give them, it is their right to educate, it is their right to live in this world as individuals. So make them as independent as possible and try and give them every opportunity to flourish.
So true. I think that independence, we need to make them independent, which we sometimes struggle with as parents. Okay. Yeah. So I think that take-home message is focus. Do not focus on their unique challenges, but focus on their strengths and use those strengths again to set them up. Like wherever the strengths can be used, use them so that you're uplifting the child. Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure speaking to you today.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, wonderful. So thank you, viewers. I hope you have found the podcast today interesting. It's been very insightful for me to speak with Zahida today, and I do hope you all have something that you take away from it. Thank you.